You've been told that love is something you find, that the right person will just show up if you're patient enough. But what if the reason love hasn't worked isn't about finding someone, it's about what you're bringing to the table? I'm going to show you the 5 psychological patterns that sabotage your relationships before they even start, and the exact framework to build something that actually lasts. This isn't about pickup lines or dating hacks. This is about the inner work that separates men who struggle in love from men who build real connection. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one shift that makes you incapable of tolerating surface-level relationships ever again. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why most men are approaching love completely backward. You meet someone, the conversation flows, you feel that electric chemistry, and your brain immediately starts writing a love story. You invest months, maybe years. You build routines, shared spaces, a life that looks like partnership. But underneath, there's this quiet question you refuse to ask. Why am I actually here? Not why did I start dating this person? Why am I still here, right now, today? Because for a lot of men, the honest answer isn't love. It's inertia. It's the fear of starting over. It's the calculation that says this isn't great, but it's easier than being alone and rebuilding from scratch. Research from relationship psychology shows that comfort is one of the most powerful forces keeping people in mediocre relationships. Not abuse, not toxicity, just the gravitational pull of what's familiar. And look, that's human. Nobody wants to throw away months or years of investment. But here's what that calculation misses. Staying in a relationship that doesn't have a real foundation isn't playing it safe. It's borrowing time from your future self. Every month you spend in a relationship held together by convenience is a month you're not available for something real. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. Not because it gets better, but because the sunk cost gets heavier. The test is simple. Ask yourself, if I met this person today for the first time, knowing everything I now know, would I choose this? Not would I tolerate this, would I choose it? If the answer is no, comfort isn't keeping you together, fear is. And that leads directly into the second pattern that's killing your chance at real love. Early chemistry is one of the most misleading experiences in human life. Two people meet, the energy is electric, the conversation never stops, and your brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin. You feel like you've found something rare. But chemistry is a feeling about the moment. Connection is a feeling about the future. And most men never learn to tell the difference. Chemistry says I had an amazing time with this person. Connection says I understand where this person is going, and I want to go there with them. Chemistry happens on a Friday night when the music is loud and the drinks are flowing. Connection is what's still there on a Tuesday morning when nothing exciting is happening and nobody's performing. The trap is that chemistry feels so good that we become afraid to ask real questions. We don't want to pop the bubble. We don't want to find out that this incredible feeling is sitting on a foundation of nothing. So we avoid the conversation about values, about direction, about what we actually want from life. And by the time the chemistry fades, which it always does, we realize we built a house on sand. Neuroscience research shows that early-stage romantic attraction activates the same brain regions as cocaine. It's literally a drug. And like any drug, the high doesn't last. What matters is what's underneath when the high wears off. Real connection isn't the absence of chemistry. It's chemistry that survives the interrogation. It's the spark that's still there after you've asked the hard questions and the answers lined up. After you've talked about money, about kids, about what happens when life gets hard. That's when you know if you're building something real or just riding a wave that's about to crash. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted, no energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We also know what it feels like when we get good, restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything I have listed in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's get back to it. If this is landing, hit that like button so more men can find this when they need it. And drop a comment. Which pattern are you recognizing in yourself right now? No judgment, just awareness. Now here's where it gets even deeper. There's a belief ingrained in our culture that love is something you find. Like it's a treasure chest buried somewhere, and you just need to dig in the right spot. The right dating app, the right city, the right timing. But what if the reason the right person hasn't shown up isn't about where you're looking? What if it's about who you are when they arrive? Think about it this way. If you're searching for a partner who is emotionally intelligent, secure, has direction in life, and knows who they are you that person? Because like attracts like, not in some mystical sense, in a very practical one. Healthy, self-aware people are drawn to other healthy, self-aware people. And if you haven't done the work on yourself, you're not invisible to them. You're just not attractive to them. Not physically, energetically. Attachment theory research confirms this. People with secure attachment styles tend to pair with other secure individuals. Anxious attracts avoidant. Chaos attracts chaos. This is the part that stings. You can't attract what you haven't become. A man who doesn't know what he wants will attract people who don't know what they want. A man who hasn't examined his own patterns will keep creating the same relationships with different faces. The most powerful dating strategy on earth isn't a strategy at all. It's becoming someone who no longer needs to chase. Not because you're arrogant, but because you've built a life that's genuinely full. You have purpose. You have friendships that matter. You have hobbies that light you up. You have a relationship with yourself that's solid. And paradoxically, that's when the right person tends to walk through the door. Not because the universe rewards self-improvement, but because you finally stopped looking with desperate eyes and started seeing clearly. Which brings us to the fourth pattern, and this one is the hardest to see. Have you ever noticed that your relationships tend to end the same way? Different partner, different city, different year, but somehow the same arguments, the same emotional distance, the same slow collapse. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern. And patterns don't come from the people you choose, they come from the part of you that's doing the choosing. Psychologists have studied this for decades. We're drawn to what feels familiar, not what feels healthy. If you grew up around emotional volatility, calm might feel boring. If you grew up being ignored, someone who's emotionally available might feel suspicious. Your nervous system learned a definition of love before you were old enough to question it. And now, as an adult, you're unconsciously seeking partners who match that old definition, even when it hurts. The way out isn't willpower. You can't just decide to be attracted to different people. The way out is awareness. When you can see the pattern clearly, when you can catch yourself in the moment of attraction and ask, am I drawn to this person because they're good for me, or because they feel like home in a way that home was never safe? That's when the pattern starts to break. And the men who do this work, the men who sit with a therapist or a journal and actually trace the thread from childhood to today, they don't just find better relationships. They become incapable of tolerating the old ones. The familiar stops feeling magnetic. It just feels familiar. And that's freedom. And here's the final pattern that keeps men stuck. We're taught from the time we're young that good things should be held tightly. If you love something, grip harder. Fight for it. Never let go. And on the surface, that sounds noble. But in practice, it's often just fear wearing a costume. Think about what happens when you try to preserve something past its natural life. You don't keep it alive, you watch it wilt in your hands. The thing that made it beautiful was its vitality, its aliveness. And the tighter you grip, the faster that vitality drains away. Some relationships are meant to be chapters. not the whole book. And there is nothing wrong with a chapter that ends. A relationship that taught you what love feels like, even briefly, is not a failure, because it didn't last forever. It's a gift that prepared you for what comes next. The men who struggle most with this are the ones who tie their identity to the relationship. If I lose her, I lose proof that I'm lovable. If this ends, it means I failed. But letting go isn't failure. Letting go is making room. Room for the version of you that's been waiting on the other side of this grief. Room for someone new who can only find you if your hands aren't full. And here's the part nobody tells men. Your heart doesn't break once and stay broken. It breaks and it learns. It breaks and it expands. The first heartbreak teaches you what love actually costs. And that knowledge, as painful as it is what makes the next love deeper. Not despite the scar, but because of it. So where does all of this leave us? If comfort is a trap, chemistry is misleading, searching is the wrong posture, patterns are invisible, and holding on can be harmful, what's actually left? What's left is the work. The quiet, unsexy, deeply rewarding work of becoming someone who doesn't need a relationship to feel whole, but who's ready for one anyway. Real love isn't a feeling you stumble into. It's a skill you develop. It's the ability to be honest when it's uncomfortable, to repair a fight without keeping score, to see your partner as they actually are, not as you need them to be, and to choose them anyway. Every day, that's not romantic in the movie sense, but it's the only version of love that actually survives contact with reality. And it starts with you, not with the right swipe, not with the perfect first date, with the man in the mirror deciding that he's worth the effort. Drop a comment. Which of these 5 patterns hit hardest for you? Number 1, staying out of comfort. Number 2, mistaking sparks for substance. Number 3, waiting to be found instead of being built. Number 4, choosing the same person in different bodies. Or number 5, holding on when you should let go. Let me know below. Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below that could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one, Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.